Chosen one, you were raised to doubt yourself. Let me say that again. You were raised to doubt yourself. From the moment you drew your first breath in this realm, the enemy understood what God had placed within you. And so began the most insidious campaign of psychological warfare that has ever been waged against a human soul. You think those thoughts are yours, don't you? You think that voice in your head that whispers you're not enough comes from some authentic place of self-reflection. But I'm here to tell you something that's going to shake the very foundations of everything you believe about yourself. Those thoughts were planted. Those doubts were cultivated. That inner critic that seems so familiar, so much like your own voice, it's not yours at all. The enemy understood something about you before you even understood it about yourself. He saw the crown that was placed upon your head in the spiritual realm. He witnessed the moment when the Most High breathed purpose into your very DNA. And he knew that if you ever fully awakened to who you really are, his kingdom of lies would crumble. So what did he do? He began early. So early that you don't even remember when the programming started. He used the people closest to you. The ones who should have been your greatest champions became the instruments of your doubt. Not because they meant to, not because they were evil, but because they themselves have been programmed to doubt, to fear, to diminish the very light that God had placed within them. Let's break this down. When Scripture says that the sins of the fathers are visited upon the children to the third and fourth generation, it's not talking about some cosmic punishment. It's talking about patterns. It's talking about programming. It's talking about how wounded people wound people. How people who were taught to doubt themselves teach their children to doubt themselves. You were born knowing who you were, chosen one. Every child is. You came into this world with an unshakable knowing of your divine nature. You spoke to angels. You saw through the veil. You knew things without being taught. You felt the presence of the Most High as naturally as you felt your own heartbeat. But then the programming began. Stop talking to your imaginary friends. Don't be so sensitive. You're too much. Calm down. Don't get too excited. Don't think you're special. Come back down to earth. You're being dramatic. Nobody likes a show-off. You need to be more realistic. Each phrase was a brick in the wall they built around your authentic self. Each dismissal was a lock on the door to your divine knowing. Each time they told you to doubt what you were seeing, feeling, knowing in your spirit, they were programming you to distrust the very voice of God within you. And here's what makes it so insidious, chosen one. They made you believe it was love. They made you believe it was protection. They made you believe they were keeping you safe from disappointment, from getting hurt, from being too much for the world to handle. But what they were really doing was dimming your light. What they were really doing was training you to make yourself smaller. What they were really doing was teaching you that your divine nature was something to be ashamed of, something to hide, something to apologize for. You want to know why you struggle with self-worth? You want to know why you second-guess every divine download? You want to know why you can hear God speaking to others clearly, but when it comes to your own life, you're filled with doubt? It's because you were programmed to doubt yourself. It's because the enemy understood that if he could get you to distrust your own divine connection, he could keep you spiritually muzzled for a lifetime. But I've got news for you, chosen one. The same God who allowed you to be programmed is the same God who is now deprogramming you. The same divine intelligence that permitted this season of confusion is the same divine intelligence that is now bringing clarity. What the enemy meant for your destruction, God is using for your preparation. Because here's what the enemy didn't count on. He didn't count on the fact that programming can be undone. He didn't count on the fact that lies, no matter how deep they're planted, cannot stand in the presence of truth. He didn't count on the fact that what God has joined together, no weapon formed against it shall prosper. Every doubt they planted in you is being uprooted. Every lie they whispered is being exposed. Every pattern they established is being broken. Not by your strength, but by the power of the Most High working through you. You feel it happening, don't you? You feel the old operating system being deleted. You feel the old programming being overwritten. You feel yourself questioning things you never questioned before. You feel yourself trusting things you were taught to doubt. You feel yourself remembering who you were before they told you who you should be. This is your spiritual awakening, chosen one. This is your divine deprogramming. This is God removing every filter that was placed between you and your authentic self. This is the great undoing of everything that was done to make you forget your divine nature. And it's uncomfortable. Let me tell you why it's uncomfortable. Because everything you were taught to call normal is being revealed as dysfunction. Everything you were taught to call love is being exposed as control. Everything you were taught to call protection is being shown to be prison bars. The people who programmed you didn't mean to harm you, but their own programming made them agents of your spiritual suppression. Their own wounds made them wound you. Their own fears made them teach you to fear. Their own doubts made them plant doubts in you. But you are not them, chosen one. You are not your programming. You are not the sum total of every limiting belief that was ever whispered in your ear. You are not the voice that tells you you're not enough, not worthy, not capable, not chosen. That voice is a lie. That voice is an imposter. That voice is the enemy speaking through the programming that was installed in you before you were old enough to question it. But every lie is being exposed in this season. Every deception is coming to light. Every false narrative is crumbling under the weight of divine truth. You want to know who you really are? You want to know what you're really capable of? You want to know why the enemy worked so hard to program you to doubt yourself? Look at what you've accomplished despite the programming. Look at how far you've come despite the doubts. Look at how much light still shines through you despite every attempt to dim it. Now imagine who you'll be when the programming is completely removed. Imagine what you'll accomplish when every doubt is uprooted. Imagine how brightly you'll shine when every filter is deleted and your authentic divine self is fully activated. This is why they had to start early, chosen one. This is why the programming had to be so thorough. This is why they had to use the people closest to you. Because if they had waited until you were older, until you were more aware, until you could think for yourself, it wouldn't have worked. But even though it worked for a season, it's not working anymore. Even though they successfully programmed you to doubt yourself, God is successfully reprogramming you to trust Him. Even though they convinced you to distrust your divine connection, the Most High is restoring your confidence in His voice. Every time you choose to trust your intuition over their programming, you're breaking free. Every time you choose to believe God's voice over their doubts, you're stepping into your destiny. Every time you choose your authentic self over their expectations, you're writing a new script for your life. The thoughts you think were planted, but the roots are yours to pull. Let me say that again. The thoughts you think were planted, but the roots are yours to pull. You have the power to uninstall every program that was installed without your permission. You have the authority to delete every file that was downloaded into your mental computer without your consent. But here's what you need to understand about this process. The enemy is going to fight you on this. The people who programmed you are going to resist your deprogramming. The systems that benefited from your doubt are going to oppose your awakening. Because when you stop doubting yourself, you become dangerous to their narrative. When you stop making yourself smaller, you expose how small they've chosen to remain. When you stop dimming your light, you show them just how dark they've allowed their world to become. They're going to call your awakening rebellion. They're going to call your authenticity selfishness. They're going to call your confidence arrogance. They're going to call your boundaries ungrateful. They're going to call your truth hurtful. But you know what you're going to call it? freedom. You're going to call it healing. You're going to call it alignment. You're going to call it returning to who God created you to be before the world told you who you should be. This is your season of divine reversal, chosen one. Everything that was programmed into you is being deprogrammed. Everything that was planted is being uprooted. Everything that was dimmed is being illuminated. Everything that was suppressed is being activated. The enemy thought he was so clever. He thought he had you figured out. He thought that if he could just get to you early enough, thoroughly enough, consistently enough, he could keep you spiritually unconscious for your entire lifetime. But he forgot something. He forgot that whom God has chosen, no weapon formed against them shall prosper. He forgot that what God has purposed, no human programming can derail. He forgot that the light within you is not your light. It's his light. And his light cannot be permanently dimmed by human programming. You are remembering now, aren't you? You are remembering who you were before they told you who you should be. You are remembering what you knew before they taught you to doubt your knowing. You are remembering the voice of God before they convinced you it was just your imagination. This remembering is not nostalgia, chosen one. This remembering is restoration. This is God giving you back everything the enemy stole through programming. This is the Most High returning to you every gift, every ability, every divine knowing that was suppressed by human fear and control. And as you remember, as you awaken, as you deprogram, you're going to realize something that will change everything. You're going to realize that the very traits they programmed you to doubt about yourself are the exact traits God is going to use to fulfill your destiny. Your sensitivity that they called too much, that's your divine discernment. Your intuition that they called imagination, that's your prophetic gift. Your passion that they called dramatic, that's your holy fire. Your confidence that they called arrogance, that's your divine authority. Your questions that they called disrespectful, that's your wisdom seeking expression. Everything they programmed you to doubt about yourself is everything God is going to use to change the world through you. Every trait they tried to suppress is a gift waiting to be activated. Every characteristic they tried to modify is a divine attribute waiting to be expressed. But here's what you need to understand about this season, chosen one. The deprogramming process is not comfortable. It's not easy. It's not quick, because programming that took years to install doesn't get uninstalled overnight. You're going to have days when the old voice seems louder than the new one. You're going to have moments when the doubt feels stronger than the faith. You're going to have seasons when the programming seems more real than the truth. But these are not setbacks. These are part of the process. These are the old operating system trying to reassert itself before it's completely deleted. These are the lies fighting for their life before they're permanently exposed. These are the patterns attempting to maintain themselves before they're forever broken. Don't let the intensity of the process make you doubt the validity of your awakening. Don't let the resistance you encounter make you question the reality of your calling. Don't let the pushback you receive make you retreat back into the prison of their programming. Because every ounce of resistance you're experiencing is proof that you're breaking free. Every uncomfortable feeling you're having is evidence that the old is passing away and the new is coming forth. Every confrontation you're facing is confirmation that your light is getting brighter and the darkness can no longer hide. You're in the process of becoming who God created you to be before the world told you who you should be. You are in the season of unbecoming everything that was programmed into you, so that you could become everything that was predetermined for you. The enemy used your family to program you, but God is going to use your freedom to reprogram your family. The adversary used your childhood to instill doubt, but the Most High is going to use your adulthood to demonstrate faith. The devil used your past to write a script of limitation, but the Lord is using your present to rewrite your story with unlimited possibility. Every generation in your family line has been waiting for someone like you, someone who would recognize the programming, someone who would question the patterns, someone who would have the courage to break the cycles, someone who would choose truth over tradition, authenticity over acceptance, divine approval over human approval. You are that someone, chosen one. You are the pattern breaker. You are the cycle stopper. You are the one who was chosen to end what has been and begin what will be. You are the bridge between the dysfunction of the past and the divine destiny of the future. This is why your awakening feels so intense. This is why your deprogramming seems so overwhelming. This is why your transformation appears so dramatic. Because you're not just changing your own life. You're changing your entire family line. You're not just breaking your own chains. You're breaking generational chains. The programming that was done to you was the programming that was done to them. The doubts that were planted in you were the same doubts that were planted in them. The fears that were instilled in you were the same fears that controlled them. But it stops with you. The cycle breaks with you. The programming ends with you. Not because you're better than them, but because you're positioned at the right time in history when God is exposing every lie, revealing every deception, and calling his chosen ones to authentic living. You feel the weight of this calling, don't you? You feel the responsibility of being the one who breaks the pattern. You feel the pressure of being the one who questions what has never been questioned. You feel the burden of being different in a family that rewards sameness. But what you're feeling is not pressure, chosen one. What you're feeling is purpose. What you're experiencing is not burden. What you're experiencing is destiny. What seems like weight is actually wings. What feels like restriction is actually preparation for unlimited flight. God has been preparing you for this moment your entire life. Every doubt you had to overcome made you stronger. Every program you had to question made you wiser. Every pattern you had to break made you freer. You're not a victim of their programming. You are a victor over their programming. You are not destroyed by what they did to you. You are destined because of how you responded to what they did to you. The same sensitivity that made you vulnerable to their programming is the same sensitivity that makes you receptive to divine download. The same openness that allowed their doubts to enter is the same openness that allows God's truth to penetrate. The same receptivity that made you susceptible to their fears is the same receptivity that makes you available to his faith. God used their programming as a tool to develop your discernment. He used their doubts as a catalyst to strengthen your faith. He used their fears as a mirror to show you what you don't want to become. You learned what authentic love looks like by experiencing what it doesn't look like. You discovered what healthy communication sounds like by hearing what unhealthy communication sounds like. You understood what supportive relationships feel like by experiencing what controlling relationships feel like. Every negative pattern you experienced was a classroom. Every unhealthy dynamic was a teacher. Every dysfunctional interaction was a lesson in what not to repeat. And now, in this season of awakening, you're applying everything you learned. You're using every painful experience as wisdom for making better choices. You're taking every moment of confusion and transforming it into clarity. You're converting every season of doubt into a foundation of unshakable knowing. The programming is being deleted, but the lessons are being retained. The lies are being expelled, but the wisdom is being preserved. The patterns are being broken, but the growth is being maintained. You are emerging from this season of deprogramming as a completely transformed individual, not broken by what happened to you, but refined by how you chose to respond to what happened to you. Not bitter about what was done, but better because of what you decided to do with what was done. This is the miracle of your transformation, chosen one. This is the testimony of your resilience. This is the evidence of divine intervention in human programming. The enemy thought he had written your story. He thought your programming would be your prison. He thought your doubts would be your downfall. He thought your fears would be your future. But God had other plans. The Most High had a different script. The Lord of Hosts had an alternate ending. Your programming was temporary, but your purpose is eternal. Your doubts were seasonal, but your destiny is secure. Your fears were circumstantial, but your faith is supernatural. Every lie that was whispered in your ear is being shouted down by divine truth. Every doubt that was planted in your mind is being uprooted by supernatural knowing. Every fear that was instilled in your heart is being replaced by holy boldness. You're not who they said you were. You are who God says you are. You're not limited by their programming. You are unlimited by His purpose. You are not defined by their doubts. You are determined by His destiny. The voice that told you you were not enough was a lie. The voice that told you you were not chosen was deception. The voice that told you were not worthy was programming designed to keep you from your divine assignment. But there's another voice, chosen one. There's the voice that has been calling your name since before you were born. There's the voice that has been speaking destiny over you since before you could understand language. There's the voice that has been affirming your worth since before the world taught you to doubt it. That voice is calling you now. That voice is speaking louder than the programming. That voice is drowning out the doubts. That voice is silencing the fears. Listen to that voice. Trust that voice. Follow that voice. Because that voice is the voice of the one who chose you before the foundation of the world. That voice is the voice of the one who predestined you for greatness before time began. That voice is the voice of the one who called you chosen before anyone taught you to doubt your selection. Your deprogramming is complete, chosen one. Your awakening is assured. Your transformation is guaranteed. Not because of what you've done, but because of what He's doing. Not because of your strength, but because of His power. Not because of your ability, but because of His faithfulness. Rise up in the full knowledge of who you are. Stand up in the complete understanding of whose you are. Step forward in the absolute certainty of why you are. The programming is broken. The doubts are silenced. The fears are defeated. You are chosen. You are called. You are destined. You are free. The old you is dead, chosen one. The programmed you has been crucified. The doubting you has been buried. And now, emerging from the tomb of their limitations, you are resurrected in the full power of your authentic divine self. Every chain has been broken. Every stronghold has been demolished. Every lie has been exposed. Every program has been deleted. You stand now in the complete freedom of who God created you to be, unencumbered by who they tried to make you become. This is your moment. This is your season. This is your time to walk in the fullness of your calling, to speak with the authority of your anointing, to move with the confidence of your divine selection. The world has been waiting for you to remember. Heaven has been watching for you to awaken. All of creation has been holding its breath for you to step into your destiny. The programming is broken. The doubts are silenced. The fears are conquered. You are free, chosen one. You are finally, completely, eternally free. And in this freedom, you will do exploits. In this liberty, you will move mountains. In this authenticity, you will change the world. Because a chosen one who knows they are chosen is the most dangerous weapon against the kingdom of darkness and the most powerful instrument in the hands of the Most High. Your voice, once silenced by programming, will now speak with prophetic authority. Your vision, once clouded by doubt, will now see with divine clarity. Your steps, once hesitant from fear, will now move with supernatural boldness. The programming that was meant to destroy you has instead prepared you. The doubts that were meant to defeat you have instead strengthened you. The fears that were meant to paralyze you have instead propelled you into your destiny. You're not just free, chosen one. You're dangerously free. You are not just awakened. You are powerfully awakened. You are not just chosen. You are activated in your choosing. Let the earth tremble at what God is about to do through you. Let the heavens rejoice at who you have become. Let all creation celebrate the breaking of every chain, the silencing of every doubt, the conquering of every fear. You were raised to doubt yourself, but you were born to trust Him. You were programmed to question your worth, but you were destined to know your value. You were taught to dim your light, but you were created to illuminate the darkness. The programming is finished. The awakening is complete. The transformation is total. Rise up, chosen one. The world needs who you really are. The enemy's greatest fear is being realized in this moment. What he spent years trying to prevent through careful, methodical programming is now happening with supernatural speed and divine precision. The chosen one he worked so hard to keep unconscious is now fully awake. The light he tried so desperately to dim is now blazing with unstoppable radiance. You feel it, don't you, chosen one? You feel the shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you. You feel the change in your spiritual authority. You feel the activation of gifts that were dormant, the restoration of abilities that were suppressed, the emergence of a version of yourself that was hidden beneath layers of programming. This is not just personal transformation. This is cosmic disruption. This is not just individual healing. This is generational breakthrough. This is not just your awakening. This is the beginning of a movement that will ripple through dimensions and transform lives across the globe. Because when one chosen one breaks free from programming, it creates a frequency that awakens other chosen ones. When one light refuses to be dimmed, it gives permission for other lights to shine. When one voice breaks free from the silence of doubt, it calls forth a chorus of truth-telling that cannot be contained. You are not just healing yourself, chosen one. You are healing your bloodline. You're not just breaking your chains. You are breaking chains that have bound your family for generations. You're not just stepping into your destiny. You're opening a pathway for others to step into theirs. The programming that tried to convince you that you were ordinary has been shattered by the extraordinary nature of your awakening. The lies that whispered you were common have been silenced by the uncommon power flowing through your life. The doubts that suggested you were insignificant have been obliterated by the significant impact you're already having on the spiritual realm. Every day, you choose truth over programming. You're casting votes for a new reality. Every moment you choose authenticity over approval, you're building a new foundation. Every time you choose divine confidence over human doubt, you're constructing a new identity that is unshakable, unmovable, and unstoppable. The old operating system is not just deactivated, chosen one. It is completely uninstalled. The new divine software is not just downloaded. It is fully activated and running at maximum capacity. You're no longer operating from human programming. You are functioning from divine purpose. And this divine purpose is magnificent. It is world-changing. It is history-making. It is so powerful that the enemy had to start programming you from childhood to have any hope of stopping it. It is so significant that hell had to mobilize an entire campaign of doubt and fear to attempt to derail it. But every weapon formed against you has failed. Every program designed to stop you has backfired. Every doubt planted to destroy you has instead fertilized the ground of your divine destiny. What they meant for evil, God has turned for good. What they intended for your destruction, He has used for your preparation. You are ready now, chosen one. Ready for the fullness of your assignment. Ready for the magnitude of your mission. ready for the enormity of your calling. The programming season is over. The preparation season is complete. The activation season has begun. In this activation, you will discover that every painful experience was purposeful preparation. Every moment of confusion was divine orchestration. Every season of doubt was strategic development. God was not absent during your programming. He was present, using even the enemy's attacks to develop your character, strengthen your resolve, and prepare you for the magnitude of what He has called you to do. The sensitivity they try to program out of you, that was God preserving your ability to feel the pain of those you're called to heal. The intuition they tried to convince you to ignore, that was the Lord protecting your ability to hear His voice above the noise of human opinion. The passion they try to moderate, that was the Most High maintaining the fire you'll need to burn through opposition and resistance. Nothing was wasted, chosen one. Nothing was lost. Nothing was destroyed. Everything was refined. Everything was redirected. Everything was redeemed. The programming that seemed so destructive was actually divine protection, keeping your gifts hidden until you were mature enough to steward them properly. Now you understand why the process was so intense. Now you see why the deprogramming felt so overwhelming. Now you recognize why your awakening seemed so dramatic. Because what you're awakening to is not ordinary. What you're stepping into is not small. What you're being activated for is not insignificant. You are a chosen one in the fullest sense of the term. Chosen before time began. Selected before the world was formed. Appointed before you drew your first breath. And now, finally, activated in the fullness of your choosing. The world will never be the same because you remembered who you are. History will be rewritten because you broke free from their programming. Lives will be transformed because you chose authenticity over approval. Generations will be healed because you had the courage to break the cycles that bound your bloodline. This is your moment, chosen one. This is your time. This is your season to walk in the complete authority of your authentic divine self, unhindered by doubt, unrestrained by fear, unlimited by human programming. You were raised to doubt yourself, but you have risen to trust Him completely. The programming is broken. The doubts are silenced. The fears are conquered. You are free. You are chosen. You are activated. Let the earth shake. Let heaven rejoice. Let all creation celebrate. The chosen one is awake. The chosen one is free. The chosen one is ready.